Hey y'all, it's Natalie, and I'm here with another Cherry Challenges layout for you with my friends Sarah, Jessica, and Nicole. This month we tried something different, and we have created our own Cherry Challenge on the Cherry on Top message boards, and it is the Pawsitively Clawsome Challenge. And so it is a prompt to get you to scrapbook about animals. It could be any animals, and you can see I showed you those pictures at the beginning. Those are whales that we saw when we were on our trip in Alaska. So I'm using the Glacier Summit sequin mix from SpiegelMom Scraps and a bunch of papers from my stash. And I actually ended up with another monochromatic layout, which is what I did recently for a Cherry design team hop. But it just worked out that way. I don't know. It wasn't really planned, but when I got all these papers out, I ended up just pulling the same colors. So I'm using the Set Sail Cut Apart by Heidi Swap. And there was like a nautical boat 3x4 card. And then there was this other one that said Adventure in her handwriting. They were both navy blue, which went well with my very blue themed photos. Most of the photos I have, or all of them really, are from screenshots from videos, because I was mostly videoing to try to see these whales. And so I'm going to kind of do a line across the middle there with the photos and the papers. And then I want to do a whale tail coming out from behind them in a sequin, like in a string of sequins. So I trimmed down the white paper, and then I put that blue border around it. That is from a photo play paper. And my title is going to be Whale Hello there, because we were so excited to see these whales, and I like a good pun. I have that Vicky Bouton paper from my stash, which is like a really fun, like royal blue color with all those pretty triangles. And I did gut that other blue paper because I just needed a border around the white cardstock. So now I'm using my Dress My Craft border punch, which is this really cool stitch border. And then I'm just kind of doing a little haphazard. So I'm not doing a single line of these stitches. I'm just kind of leaving a few spaces here and there and just creating like a little bit of an imperfect border all the way around the white cardstock. And then you'll just be able to see the peak of the blue paper from through those little stitch holes. You really could use this to stitch with as well. But I'm impatient. I'm not a big stitcher on paper, really. So now I'm going to rough up the edges of the white cardstock, and I am going to add a little bit of interest to the edges. I'm going to get a stamp that is got like little hatch prints, like a grid almost, like a really messy grid. And then I'm just going to use my Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide. That's a new one to me. But it matched really well, and it brought out some of that same color that's in the sequin mix. So I'm going to just stamp around the edges with that. And then I'm going to rough up the edges of the outside border paper as well. And then I'm going to go back through on both and add black. And this is because the thickers that I chose for my title are black. And so I didn't really have any other bits of my layout that were black. So I want to add bits to the layout to make that black make sense, to make it repeat multiple times in the layout for cohesion. So that's one way that I'm doing that, is using the black distress ink to ink up the edges of both of my background papers. Now I just didn't want it to get a mess. It would be kind of messy on my board. So I just laid down some cardboard first, and then I'm going to use my really super skinny tearaway tape to add a layer to either side of that border punch, because I just have that really thin 1 inch all the way around blue border that I'm going to lay this atop. So I couldn't really use my gun to make big messy stripes of glue, or it would have kind of poked out the other side. So now we have the background ready to go. It's time to lay everything on top. It's going to come together pretty fast. I'm going to trim this down to fit into a nice rectangle just for like pop of pattern paper there. I'm going to do the same treatment on it. I'm going to rough up the edges, and I'm going to ink them up with the black distress ink. So again, repeating that black element. I actually did not back my photos. They each have a white border around them already, but I am going to give that same treatment to the cut aparts and then lay them on top of the baby blue paper, just because that's what I used for the part of the title. And it was another way to repeat that title element and get more baby blue on the page to make it make sense, to bring cohesion to the page. So inking up the edges of all of those, trying to make sure that I did dry them off because I don't want them to leave black smudges on my white background. And I'm just kind of laying everything down the way I want it before I decide exactly where I want my whale tail. Let's see, what are we doing here? So I'm just kind of laying down everything to see where I want it. I was gonna like hand draw it, and then I was like, no, I'm not gonna risk it. I want it to look really good. So I just printed a really rough draft of it, like from a super simple image search on Google. And then I cut it out, and it actually didn't print off the corners of the tail, but that's okay. I can freehand those. So I'm just gonna trace around this template and very, very lightly in pencil so that I can cover up the pencil with the sequins. And then I will just line a bit of glue and put my sequins down to make my sequin whale tail. So this was in Sitka, Alaska. It was an excursion that we took off of the cruise. And you drive around Sitka Sound in these Zodiac boats, which are these, they're basically like blow up rafts. I mean, they're really sturdy, but still they're very low to the water, right? And like I could just lean over and stick my hand in the water. And then they have like motors on them. And so they took us around the sound looking for whales and other animals. We saw otters, we saw eagles, we saw whales, we saw gray whales. We actually think we saw a humpback as well. Of course, I did not get that on video because it almost like fully breached out of the water. It was pretty incredible, but we weren't really prepared. We had just pulled up and it was so exciting. But then the rest of the whales that we saw were gray whales, and they have fun little spots, and they really put on a show for us. And it was so awesome, really special. So that was definitely a super cool experience. So I definitely will make quite a few pages probably about our whale excursion. So I thought that would be a really good entry for our cherry challenge today. I will link down below to the message board where we have posted our cherry challenge. All 4 of us are also creating videos to help inspire you all. I hope you'll all play along, and I think we're putting up a gift card as a prize, and you have until the end of the month, this month, July, to play along. So I hope you'll feel like playing, and you don't have to do your pet. You don't have to have a pet. You know, I do have pets, but I didn't scrap my pets. I scrapbooked, awesome animals that we saw in public. If you go to the zoo, if you go on a hike and you see a cool animal, a bug, what have you. So there possibly use a pun. If you just have cute critters that you want to use in your layout that don't actually go with the photos, like they're just like a cute little embellishment, that'll work. There's no rules really. So I'm committing to sticking everything down. So I have my whale tail done. I'm just using my adhesive to stick down my cut aparts and the pattern paper. And then the photos, I'm kind of going to overlap them all, and then we're just going to embellish them all, and it will go really quickly. Now, my super skinny baby blue letters that say whale are some of my favorite dyes from Momenta, but they're super skinny, and so since they were cut out of a little bit of a flimsy cardstock, I decided it would be best to layer them up. So I do 3 cuts of each letter, and then I just use some liquid adhesive and I stick them together, and you can wiggle them while they're still wet to get them to all be really perfectly aligned. And then I just have a little bit of a thicker, sturdier alpha to be able to stick down onto my page. And so I highly recommend doing that if you have a super skinny alpha like I'm using right here. Made them much sturdier, so that was a good call. So that is where I'm going to put the title. They're going to overlap the pattern papers in the photos and kind of nestle in between the sequins there. These letters are really skinny and large, and so they are very good for nestling. I am using my little stamping block you can see there to just kind of hold down everything while after I glue it down to make sure it's nice and adhered. The hello sticker is from the new Vicky Boutin thickers. Oh gosh, I've forgotten the name and I don't have it with me. I'm sorry. I'll link it down below though. I just got them from the store, and they're like matte, rubbery, foamy black. I don't know the type of material they are, but I really love them a lot. And there's a lot, and they're really cute font. Super into them. And the other ones, the one that says they're a similar material, and they're from Studio Calico, super old, and I've hoarded them so much, but I was able to manage the word there out of them very, very creatively, but it worked. So now I'm just pulling a couple of 49th the Market die cuts, giving the same treatment as I did the rest of the papers with the black ink, and then I am going to stick that there above the cutout. And the last thing I'm doing is using a felt tip pen to just trace around the whale word, and that way it's going to have a pop of black around it. It's going to help it stand off the page and just add that additional, black to the rest of the title. Well, hello there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you're inspired. I hope you'll come play along with our challenge over on the Cherry message boards. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. Check out the links down below for the affiliate links for these products, as well as a link to the message board to play along. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, y'all.